received her master's from IIT Kharagpur and PhD from Vanderbilt University, USA. Currently, she is a professor and HOD at Electrical Engineering and coordinator of Center for Biomedical Engineering, IIT Gandhinagar. She has been actively involved in research in the area of biomedical engineering while working with post-stroke patients and individuals with Parkinson's disease. Her research interests include physiology-assisted diagnostics, physiology-assisted rehabilitation, virtual reality-based affective computing, and rehabilitation, eye tracking, physiology-based modeling techniques, and adaptive intelligence techniques using artificial intelligence. Her research has been published in several national and international venues along with nearly 10 patents being filed and approved. Also, she has won several awards at the national and international level. So, let's welcome Dr. Uttama Lahiri. Over to you.
So, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes. Let me tell you. So this introduction has already been done. What has been missed out in between is I had been working in industry and also have been coming back in academia. So it was a mix of industry and academia where every time I was sort of checking my concepts in real life and then back in academia. So I had been a sort of a practicing engineer and also a teaching engineer, both. So I'll not go into this. So a lot of industrial experience, almost 10 plus years industrial experience I have. Now, so when it comes to AI, I first give some idea on, these are mostly from the net, which I've tried to get what is there and going on now. So here you can see that technology always doesn't support. So here you can see that you can virtually sort of see real-time operation of organs, right? And you can go ahead with a very good clinical discussions. Right. And in the same way, I not go for this. And in fact, for health screening, you can see that so you can generate a lot of data, which our esteemed previous speaker was also speaking, and it was so nice to hear it. Where a lot of data can be generated, and also we can take very good clinical decisions. And also in data analytics, for example, say you are taking scans of brain image, and you can mark sections which are not working properly, which as a clinical expert you can mark it. But this is, the AI engine is actually the doctor. And then the data is embedding to the machine, and the machine can give quantitative estimates of the doctor's choice. Now, on the rehabilitation, because these are the two which I'll be, mostly rehabilitation I'll be covering. So, in gait rehabilitation, we have seen very often in hospitals that there are many clinicians trying to help a person to walk, right? It's very, I should say, it's very powerful, but, and with a lot of human touch. But the clinicians are often posed in very ill-posed positions, helping the doctor, helping the patient to walk. And sometimes there's a lot of subjectivity, for sure, because a trained clinician and an untrained, a novice clinician, the way they will do are different. Now, people have shown that in rehab, there can be an exoskeleton which can be programmed to operate in such a way so that you can control one's gait and give framing. The person is walking in parallel bars, which is a very important aspect of this gait rehab. And the doctors can discuss about the patient's progress. And last, I wanted to include this. This is absolutely very futuristic, where the mental rehabilitation, where AI can be an agent to help an individual come out of the cognitive state or cognitive decline, which is absolutely futuristic in this stage. Right? But then, to know that person is with cognitive decline, there are many ways, pen and paper based techniques which one can use, very well established, but again subjective. How AI can help in such a case, which is one segment of my research. So broadly, my lab at IIT Gandhinagar is called as Intelligent Rehabilitation of Affective Computing Systems Lab. So I will make out that there are two wings in my research. One is objective computing, another is rehabilitation. In affective computing, I work on estimating the cognitive health, right? The affective state of the cognitive health. And also I work on autism research from my PhD days. In the cognitive health, we have been able to, so there are stages where some of you, I heard, are from the clinical background, in which you will understand better than us engineers, that there are states where the individual doesn't show explicitly that the person is aging mentally, right? So can other matrices, for example, the looking pattern, can identify that an individual is going to progress in a state of Alzheimer, maybe 5 to 6 years down the line. Right? So such type of prediction is very much possible, and our research has shown the possibility. In the area of autism research, we work on virtual reality-based and augmented reality-based setups where the system can react to a child's need in a very individualized manner while looking to one's affective state, say how the child is feeling, but since the child does not express on the face, the other physiological measures such as say heart rate, the pupillary dilation, the blink rate, the muscle twitching, how I am sweating, what's my skin temperature, these can be very easily picked up to estimate, where there is a lot of AI coming in, estimate the affective state of the individual and change the task for training. In the case of standing balance, so in rehabilitation I have been mostly working on standing balance and gait. In standing balance, we have, so the way I hold myself while I am keeping my eyes shut and when I'm keeping my eyes open are different, right? So when I'm keeping my eyes shut, that means my consciousness about the surroundings is reducing. So a big portion of my input I'm just cutting off, which is my visual input, visual stimulation, right? So what is the role of visual stimulation? Through VR, we have been trying to do studies. And also there is something called as operant conditioning. It's a very new concept which we brought in for lower limb, which I'll explain. And also we went a little bit further to see, okay, after all, it's the brain which is controlling all of this. Can we interrogate specific regions of the brain and see how such interrogation is connected with the overall balance of an individual? On the gait quantification, so we have come out with specific gadgets, electronics-based gadgets, which can quantify gait. The doctors here will be very much aware that there are very well-known labs called as gait labs, which are very costly, with pressure max starting from say 25 to 30 lakhs it starts. And there are Bicon, which is camera-based systems, which starts minimum from 45 lakhs. Now these are all restricted within the lab. Can I carry them at every place to the hospital? We cannot. So then we thought that can we do a portable, wearable gait quantification device, right, which can quantify one's gait and sort of quantify gait in terms of say 15 to 16 different parameters, which are very good for which are very helpful for the doctors to predict their state. So then we went for exercise platforms, the different exercise platforms, so by quantifying one's gait. In fact, these exercise platforms, so you have heard many actors or many young people lying on the because they don't know the extent of exercise. Right? They're pushing themselves hard. Can we devise a system which can understand that where the person is, it will be fatal, and try to change the task paradigm so that the person is able to, we can rehabilitate the person, we can train the person. And one of the very good ways is to pick up the energy expenditure. Why? When I walk, I don't become tired, and when a patient with post-stroke showing circumduction, why the person becomes tired? Because they are spending a lot of energy, which is called as physiologic cost index, which I extracted from my heartbeat rate, right? From the heartbeat rate of an individual, and then make a closed loop system. So the system understands that the moment the individual is becoming tired, it will become fatal for him. Let me reduce, or let me keep the difficulty level the same. So these type of, and we have already got the patent for all of these. So we have done this, which I'll not explain today. And then also we work with lower limbs. So after all, we have seen the eyes, we have seen the brain, interrogating the proportions of the brain, but everything is being facilitated because our muscles are also helping us to walk. What is the role of the muscles? What is the role of gastrocnemius, tibialis, anterior, and other muscles in the case particularly for post-stroke cases, so which we have done as well. So here I'll be mostly focusing on the cognitive health, so this one, and to some extent on the balance for today. So this is mild cognitive impairment. Mild cognitive impairment is the stage which is well before the Alzheimer kicks in or dementia kicks in, right? And where the individual's family will not be able to identify that there has been a change in the elderly. It's very difficult to predict, right? Some forgetfulness, something which we all forget, which I forget. But that doesn't mean that we are in the MCI state, right? Which is not a cognitive. So healthy aging is not a healthy aging. So it's very difficult to identify. And the literature shows that there are different types of cognitive test batteries which people have used to identify the cognitive states. Right? There are many tests which are there. But none have identified specific tasks which can quantify or which can screen an individual, and that too wanted to do in the community. So, for example, you could have said, okay, take the MRI, do it, but every community dweller, can we do the MRI? Not possible. It's not a feasible solution. And also, since this mild cognitive impairment is very at the initial stage, there if you give exercises, medications, you cannot cure it, but you can delay the process at least. So that was the notion. And so in this case, if the explicit expression is very less, that means MRI indicators will be very bleak, right? It will be very difficult to identify structural changes in the brain which can detect the possibility of that the person is in MCI. So that sort of rules out. Then there are very good eye tracking tools, because I'm doing with gaze tracking. The eye tracking, very good eye trackers will start with 20 lakhs, 25 lakhs, 30 lakhs, right? Not every community center can have that. And the literature shows at least a good percentage of people, elderly, above 60 years of age, have a tendency of developing this MCI, and which is sort of a silent killer, and it progresses to a stage when it's dementia, but then its things are out of control. So this is the progression. So there is, it doesn't do immediately. There is a mild cognitive impairment, then there is mild dementia, like forgetting, then there is moderate dementia, things are in line, the person can do the work. Then the severe dementia, absolutely forgetful, short-term memory, long-term memory become adversely affected. So that stage where it's very difficult to manage. Like management becomes much difficult. So now, that means the mild cognitive impairment is a stage where doctors, not you and me, the doctors can start medication, but we should help the doctor to identify that. And after that is their area. They will be treating the patient to delay the dementia. So now, what people do, and it's very well established, there are different pen and paper based tests. such as Edinburgh Cognitive Examination Test, Montreal Cognitive Assessment Test, MOCA. There are different tests which are there, where it's like a question answer based, where the patient sits with the clinician several hours to do this, come out with these parameters, with these test results, and then the clinician can say that you have some chance of MCI or not, right? Or you are in dementia, nothing can be done, right? These are very powerful things, but then these are a lot of subjectivity is there, and it needs trained manpower. And also, when I say subjectivity, that means it's not biomarker based, right? Which the speaker was telling so well. I was just enjoying his talk. The speaker was telling that these biomarkers can be in the form of, say, image-based images, right? The orthodontic which he was telling. So there can be specific signatures or images which one can pick up, put it into the machine, so it is a biomarker. So can we use such biomarkers in this case? And in this case, I chose again an image which is the eye-gaze image. So obviously we need biomarkers for quantification, and of course we are doing all of this as a complementary tool, nothing to replace the doctor. Right? The doctor is sort of giving us the gold standard, or the ACE3 measure are giving us the gold standard, but we are only helping in the diagnostic or screening process. So that was the notion with which we started. So I will tell you about the different types of tasks. So one is the very established task, close-circuit task. Given a particular central cross, the person is given a target, and then the individual is asked to look towards the target. So there is, when you consider looking pattern, there is something which is called as, say, an object is given here, I go and fixate. And as I look at that point, I spend time on that point, I dwell on that point, that is called fixation. And then there is another stage which is called a saccade, where my eye jumps from the central point to this point, right, to the object. And this saccade is generally of the order of 300 to 1000 degrees per second. So that is the speed of the eye, where the visual input is almost zero. It's just orienting the eye, right? So these are very well established tests. There is one more test which is called as anti-saccade, where I am picking up the attention reorientation. For example, say I've given a stimulus here and I've been told to look exactly opposite. So there are two saccades. One is reflexive saccade and another is the anti-saccade. So obviously I will try first to look there, and then I'll quickly correct myself to look in the correct direction. So this is anti-saccade, and this attention reorientation is very crucial. Large areas of the brain are involved in this attention reorientation process. And then there is a memory-guided saccade, memory-guided fixation, where, say, a stimulus is given, the circle, and then I have to remember, and then again I have to look towards the stimulus. Very simple task, but very difficult for people with MCI. So now I have identified specific visual tasks which can be very sensitive, and we wanted to do it in the screening, as a screening tool. So we planned that. We went to the village in Howrah. There we chose very good communities there of elderly people, and almost a large number of individuals, with almost 1400 individuals we screened using our tool. It was a long study where my students went there, and we got very interesting results. A part of the results I will be showing to you. So with what was our aim? Our aim was to find out specific tasks which can screen an individual MCI, and with how much confidence, right? How much confidence, that is what we are trying to do. So this is our setup, where we did not want to use the costly eye tracker, right? But we wanted to use a very simple camera, of course at a high frame rate, right? And IR camera. We used an IR camera, infrared camera, and using all the image processing the backend, we converted that camera to an eye tracker, right? And then we extracted different features based on that. And this eye tracker cost is 28,000 rupees, and the regular eye tracker which is there starts from say 20, 25 lakhs onwards. So it's a huge order of cost. We reduced it. And then we wanted to see how good, because the world will not accept us. Those of you who are in research, in PhD, you will understand if we make a device, the world will not understand that. We have to prove ourselves. For that, we have to prove against a known state of the art. So we compared our device against the known state of the art, and we proved that we are getting very high accuracy. So we had a chin rest because it is a lot of calibration issues are there with eye tracking. So we have chin rest. I'm not going to those details. Some of you are working in eye tracking, you will be you know that calibration is a major bottleneck which we overcame. We had made an eye tracking module, and we had a task presentation module. So task presentation we did horizontal flow circuit and horizontal anti-circuit. So horizontal is if this is the point, the target is there, I have to look, this is horizontal flow circuit. Horizontal anti-circuit is if this is the target, I have to look exactly in the opposite direction. So this horizontal anti-circuit. And likewise it would be the vertical flow circuit and vertical anti-circuit, and also the memory guided fixation where I have to remember and then look. Now in all of these I was trying to pick up the Saccard latency. Saccard latency is what time I take to correct, to initiate my lesson. So the Saccard latency, which I was picking up from my data, which we computed from our data, and the number of correct hits. How many times we are hitting correctly in a memory guided fixation task. So this, see how this, because we were working with Army in one of the projects. So this is how it will work. So this is the initial calibration we will do, right? And when the person is looking in different directions. So this is the initial calibration, and this is the base scale image which we are taking now, and then we are extracting different features from it. At the back end there is a lot of codes running, and this is the type of stimulus which we are doing. This is mostly again a second level of calibration. Calibration is very crucial in this case. And also a horizontal flow circuit. You can see the lines of code. It is Python based algorithm which we know. So different types of tasks we do. So I'll skip these, and then towards the end we will create a report. So we will create a report like this, where we can, and I will present you some of the results. Specific reports we can give to for each individual, for each patient, to the doctor, and the doctor can interpret from these reports in which stage of cognitive impairment the person is in. Now, so here I present 60 group of participants. So 60 were healthy controls, 60 with mild cognitive impairment, and 60 with dementia. Now the question is, are the education levels, because education level can also affect the way I respond to a pen and paper based task, because pen and paper based scores are my golden standard. I have to compare against that. And also, people might say that this is the aging. If the aging is different, then age causes dementia. So that means age is a confound. So when you do your research, there are very important things which you need to remember is confounding factors. In this case, my confounding factors were education and age. So I have to balance, right? Balance my participant pool based on education and age, and which we did. And then we can see that they were very similarly aged, almost very similar. There was no statistical difference. And then we had different AS3 scores. So you can see the cognitive scores highest for the healthy individuals, that is, they were really healthy MCI was less and dementia was very bad. So they were statistically different in terms of pen and paper score. So this is how our results were. So here you can see that this is all the, sorry it's not visible, but this is horizontal prosecate, vertical prosecate, horizontal antisecate, vertical antisecate. This is a violin graphs. So you can see that the horizontal antisecate and the vertical antisecate are very prominent. And they are statistically telling the difference between the healthy control, dementia and MCI. And see the percentage corrected, it was for the dementia case, they were not able to do at all. But for mild cognitive impairment, some were better, but most likely doing like 50% of the times they were doing 50%, they were missing out. But in the case of healthy, majority they were able to do 100%. So it was giving some sensible data. So from this we could find out among all the 5 tasks, vertical antisecond and horizontal antisecond were very powerful in distinguishing these states, MCI, dementia and healthy. If this is the case, then again the world will not accept us. We are engineers. We have to prove that our scores, which are very new and on which we got a very nice US patent as well, that these scores are clinically valid. Right? And for that, we compared correlation with the cognitive scoring by the pen and paper based approach. And there we could see that the vertical prosecute, horizontal antisecond, vertical antisecond were giving strong correlation with vertical prosecute, little bit less. But again, we are very confident that horizontal antisecond and the vertical antisecond were being powerful. So we are very happy. Then we felt, okay, if there is a very good correlation between the pen and paper based approach and our approach, then why not we do away with the pen and paper based approach, right? Because at the end of the day, it is the screening which we should take over. Right? And then based on screening result, we can tell to the doctor that see this person is with MCI, please start your treatment. That was the argument. Right? So we went for 2-level hierarchical clustering, and again we have given submitted another patent application for this. It's in a very good stage now. So here we did a 2-level hierarchical architecture clustering, where we were first trying to identify whether the individual is healthy or not. If not, if healthy, please then move out. You are not needed to go further. You are mentally fit. Otherwise, if you are with unhealthy, then can we tell in which stage of unhealthiness you are? Are you at the MCI stage where some medication can help, right? Or you are in the dementia stage? Sorry, nothing can be done, right? So this at least we should be able to find out and sort of label the participants on that. So that was the idea. And so we used 2 types of clustering techniques, right? Because we first did the K-means clustering, and then we felt the results are good. Of course, we will not always believe ourselves. We will say something wrong with the K-means clustering. Maybe it's helping us. Let's try another approach. We went for Gaussian mixture model, GMM approach, and there also the results were very, very good. So, so this is what we did obtain for the K-means clustering, right? So the K-means clustering, again, we see the vertical antisecond was actually distinguishing only one task, but very good in distinguishing with the MGM also quite close by, distinguishing whether I'm healthy or unhealthy. And in the next level, the horizontal antisecond was telling in which stage am I? Am I in dementia or am I in the MCI stage? Then we changed the clustering to we went for GM, Gaussian mixture model, and then we could again see very similar results. The vertical anti-saccade again was coming very powerful, and the horizontal anti-saccade was again coming very powerful in identifying whether I am dementia or MCI. That is, what stage of unhealthiness I am. It's similar to, for example, say you go in to the doctor telling that I'm not feeling well today, right? And the doctor says, with a basic thermometer, says, no, you are fine. You have been in the sun, that's why you are feeling, you are good. So you are healthy. Now, if the doctor says that, no, you really have soft skin. So then we felt, if our weaknesses are so strong, can we see combinations of tasks and do with only our tool? And then try to cross-check with the pen and paper based approach. So we did configuration where we had AJs and VAs tasks. This was the sort of accuracy which we were getting. We went for all 4 tasks combined. We went for 3 tasks combined. And we went for all 5 tasks combined. And then we try to see, more you go, worse it is becoming. Right. So then we could find out this combination, horizontal anti-saccade and vertical anti-saccade. If you plot horizontal anti-saccade latency on x-axis and vertical anti-saccade latency on the y-axis, and you just do clustering, you will find that the centroids widely differ, and which can very well differentiate whether the person is healthy or with mild cognitive impairment or with dementia. So we could see the role of AI here, where AI can be used as a very positive tool to screen an individual even at the cognitive level. Now let's change gears. Let's do the other portion, one snapshot of the other person, other side of the story is what about gait. Right? So we also work in gait rehabilitation, and we know that post-stroke, the problem is that particularly we look for hemiplegic post-stroke. So one side is paralytic and the other side is fairly good. I shouldn't say good, fairly good. And so this, you will find that this is the way the post-stroke patient will walk. So one limb is, there's a lot of circumduction, and the other limb with small steps. Right? Now, we could see in the, we went for this particular, what is the tradition, what is conventionally used, which I was telling while I was starting the talk. So there are very good devices called as gait, so it's called as gait right, which is gait pressure map, which has lakhs and lakhs of sensors, which can quantify in real time how an individual is walking. But then it's a big piece of that which you have to carry, it's very heavy, go to the hospitals, lay it down on the floor and ask the person to walk, which is not possible, not wearable, not portable, but very good. Now, to appreciate this, I don't know whether it's visible, so let me tell the story behind. So, I'm from Bengal. So, and there's a very good story behind the shoe discovery, which is where does it go? So let me quickly connect this with my research. So there was a king, and the king was always complaining that dust is coming to the floor, to my feet, something has to be cleaned. The floor has to be cleaned. Many people came with broomstick, but not a sustainable model. Then many people came with cloth. The dyed grass is going inside the cloth and hitting the feet of the king. King was not happy. King is telling this is not a permanent solution. Then a cobbler came in. The cobbler told, let me cover your feet with the leather. And that is how the shoe came. So that story was there in my mind, which I read when I was much younger than you. So then I felt, if we take a pressure mat at all places for the person to walk on the pressure mat, why not we put the pressure mat into the shoe? And that was the basis where I thought of doing a wearable, sort of a portable gadget. But then that pressure mat has lakhs and lakhs of sensors. If I really use all the sensors, then it, as a consider maintenance, that could be a nightmare for you. It is not a sustainable model. So can I pick up permanent or cardinal points below one's foot, which will have the story of the gait for any individual? And that was the research which we ended up with. We came up with cardinal points below one's foot where most of the pressure lies. And we designed an insole, we just flipped it into a shoe, and we did a small data acquisition system which can wirelessly communicate the data to any computer, to any laptop, or even a handheld device. So this is where we broke up these feet into different sections, right? And we will see that there are certain sections which has a lot of weight bearing capability. There was obviously electronics behind, which is a cumbersome one, which I'll not go in this platform. If you are interested, we can discuss. And so this is how we were picking up the daily weights. So for example, if my heel I am striking once, and then I am taking my next heel, this is one step. And if I am putting my heel, my next heel, and then my next heel, this is one strike. So I can very easily pick up step time, strike time, and the moment my leg is in the air, that is in the swing phase. So the moment my heel, my toe is sticking off the ground, my swing phase starts. Right? So literature says that there's a very well-known definition between stance when my leg is in contact with the ground and when my leg is in the air. Single limb, double limb, different stance parameters are there in the literature. So I was trying to pick up all of these indices through my shoes. I feel it is Saturday late, so people might be losing interest, so let me skip this. If you lose interest, let me skip. Okay? So I picked up many gait parameters, and then I wanted to compare it again with the state of the art. I compared it with Vicon. It's a very well-known standard gauge quantification tool. It starts from 45 lakhs. And there I calibrated my shoes with Vicon, and I could see this is the calibration accuracy. Very nice. You are very excited. Then we felt that our shoe should be such that it should be able to quantify my gait, your gait, a person with osteoarthritis, a person with stroke, a person with Parkinson. So the gaits are all different. So I'll give you a quick, so you know healthy gait, I will not take much time. But this is how an osteoarthritic gait will look like, for those of you who are aware of it. This is how the osteoarthritis. So you can see one leg is literally limping because it's with pain, and the other leg is taking the body forward. This is how a Parkinson person will walk. So the posture changes, the gait changes, smaller steps, smaller strides, right? And this is how a healthy person will walk. My shoes should be able to pick up all. I cannot make separate shoes for different persons. Then there is no routine research. I made my shoes, I made my insoles, also to pick up posture and also to pick up stride length, because there should be an angle with respect to time. And this is where we are comparing, which is my device, this is what is the actual pressure mat, hospital pressure mat, the state of the art, and this is where the existing literature tried to recreate that. And we could see that all cases it was quite close. Ours was much close than that equipment. Then we wanted to see whether from this stance swing we can find out whether the gait is healthy or not. So this is the single limb. So what is single limb support? When one leg is in the air, the other leg is in the ground. Right? This is single limb support. Now, if I am an unhealthy person, I will find to try to stabilize myself. So I will put my both feet down. So more double limb support is bad. Right? That means I am unstable. Right? So I try to plot the single limb support from left leg and right leg on two axes, and around 40-60, so 40-60 stance swing percent, we can see that around 40% there was clustering. And mind you, all of you already recognize that this is a healthy gait. But see the unhealthy gait when the person is walking. You can specifically find out whether the person is left hemiplegic, right hemiplegic, and what is the extent of the hemiplegic. So this is stance swing percent, 40-60, so 60 MP. You can find for healthy people, and this is you can find out for unhealthy people, left and right hemiplegic. Lot of change. We compared ourselves with the state of the art, like the camera-based system, the pressure mat system, the shoe insole-based system. Our system excelled in all of these, than all of these. So this is not giving the video, this is not giving the audio. So this is the insole which we came up with. So I'll skip portions because the audio is not there. So this is the insole which we came up with, and there have been a lot of iterations now. It went for several years of research, right? 2 PhD students already graduated with this, so a lot of work was there. So you can put it into any shoes, and you can walk up the stairs, and you can walk on the floor. You can quantify your gait wirelessly. This is how the shoe looks like. It can quantify different gait parameters. Even it can tell whether you are about to fall. It's a very good indicator of fall. This is how you can see real time the data on your front end, right? The entire data, the entire graphical user interface was developed. So she is a designer from the Center for Design. So when I give it, it's we have to work on the external appearance, how everything will be given. So she is the designer, and this is how now the shoe, once upon a time the shoe insole looked like. Now we have given this for manufacturing, right? And now it's a much sleeker, easily bendable insole which you can flip in any shoe. We have given to doctors, and particularly at civil hospital, who have been working with our shoes, and the result has been very satisfying. So this is how it is. So this is the graphical user interface which we have developed. You can fit in the data. And we can have different. So we have been presenting at different trade shows, and there have been good traction. Now, how much time do I have? Otherwise, I'll skip this one.
5 minutes.
5 minutes? I will answer. So we extended this shoe to all Parkinson patients, and we tried to find out why they fall, right? And this is a technology. Will all Parkinson people accept the technology? May not. As per literature, nearly 2 lakh individuals per year in India suffering from Parkinson's disease use technology. Right. So we were excited that means our system might be applicable. So this is how it works. So what it does, so when a Parkinson patient is about to freeze, to bring them out of freezing, so freezing is sticking of the ground to the floor, and their body moves forward, the legs doesn't move. So what the doctors do, the doctors give taps, and this is like a tactile tool, not a tactile, sorry, audio tool. Sometimes the doctor gives a pat on the back, so it's a tactile tool. And sometimes it's like a line on the floor, like a tiled line, and the people can walk. So our idea was, can we predict the possibility of freezing and give a tool using our shoes? So this is how our device looks like. I'm not going to details. We did a very nice study with healthy individuals and with Parkinson patients at different event aims in Delhi. We did a very nice study. This is how the data was being collected. You can see we went to the community centers under different task conditions, under different pathway conditions. So it's 5 minutes, I'm running. We should be. Now, our idea was that all the present technologies which are available, whenever it works on reactive basis. That means you freeze, then something is there to help you out to come out of freezing. But by that time, the gate is already interrupted. So our idea was, can we predict and prevent the person from freezing? So we could see that certain gate parameters allowed us to predict 3 steps prior to one's freezing. We have got very good reviews from a patent application, and most likely we will get the patent through the applied as well. Again, we compared against the state of the art to see whether it is clinically relevant. We could see that there is a lot of clinical relevance. Now, we wanted to compare. So there are sticks which are available in the market. I hope you have seen sticks which continuously give cues. Right, and there are, but again, the cues itself will give a cognitive. Cues will cause the person to freeze. So we wanted to see the already which is there in the market, say no cues, one continuously giving cue, and one which can predict possibility of freezing and then give a cue to prevent freezing. So this is where our data shows. You can see the variability in gait is much less in our case. Literally, there is almost no freezing in our case, and statistically different. Right? So it was working very well. I don't know whether this is this is with no cue. See how the person is walking? He freezes. He cannot move. Again, he is freezing. He cannot move. So no cue. This is continuous cue. He is walking very well. Freezing. Freezing. Come out of freezing. And this is how our system works. So there will be initial hesitation. We give 3 cues. Very encouraging. No freezing at all. So we have a number of patents from our lab. I am very grateful to the different funding agencies, national and international funding agencies which have funded my research. Our lab is very well funded till now. These are my list of students who have graduated, 10 PhD students who have already graduated and at different portions of the world, different portions of their academic journey. I have a postdoc at my lab. I have a product designer at my lab. So it's our computer science, members from computer science. members from easy background, members from mechanical engineering, and these are my presently 5 PhD students with my work. References, thank you. You can take my email ID, and if you want, you can connect with me. I always look forward in working with clinicians, and I would love, because after all, your data is the gold standard for me, and then it's like a puzzle, black box. Then I go ahead and solve the problems. So I look forward to collaborating with clinicians, and of course I look forward to collaborating with students and the faculty here at the institute.
I would like to invite Dr. Manish sir to kindly present the question of today's lecture.
Thank you. Very nice talk. Yeah, we will.
Within 5 minutes we'll start again. Till then, there is a test team that have to share some insights with you. Also, we are sharing some feedback forms of the workshop, so you might fill them as soon as possible. Then we can move to the thank you sir.
So, hello everyone and good afternoon. I would just like to take 2 or 3 minutes of yours. Okay, you already might have heard about TEDx talks, TED and TEDx, right? Have you all or not? Yes. Have you not? So, we are going to organize our 3rd edition of our flagship event, TEDx IITRAM, with the theme Dimensions of Discovery. And we are here to just ask you to do a bit of a task for us, to fill out this form which we have circulated. It is actually different from the feedback from this conference. We are actually going a bit off track from this workshop, and we'd like to tell you about what TEDx IITRAM is and when will it happen. It is tentatively scheduled for
the last week of May.
You already might know that organizing this is a bit of a tedious task, so that's why we need to curate things beforehand, and that's why we need to confirm and receive speaker confirmation from you guys if you are interested or not.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kindly fill out that form, and thank you.
If you are interested, you can write your email in that form, and we will contact you via email when the event fixed date of the event will be scheduled. So please fill it.
There are 3 sheets that are circulated of TEDx. So I would like to everyone enter their name and emails in the TEDx sheet. Also, the feedback form will be collected soon. So just fill the form as well.
All of you got the feedback form? Anyone else is left?
अच्छा देना जरूरी नहीं है नंबर तो खानों का लाइफ टाइम अच्छा वाले
बच्चों को सीक्वेंस, you just know your sequence in which you have to come.